Hello, and welcome to today's episode. If you've already heard the introduction before, then just skip ahead about 5 minutes. Otherwise, the Bible is referred to as the living Word of God. It isn't a book that is meant simply to be read. It is a perspective-altering substance that is meant to be ingested and absorbed into you. And when it becomes a part of you, it changes you. And that is exactly what it is meant to do. A psalm is a spiritual song based on real-life experiences that reveal a profound foundational insight that is then expressed in the form of music, which is usually played on a harp. This is my own paraphrase of the Psalms. Now, there is an important difference between a paraphrase and a translation, and it is important to understand what that difference is. A translation takes a text word by word, and it finds the most accurate word in another language to convey the meaning of that original word. But sometimes getting the details right can come at the expense of the big picture. For example, the literal translation for a butt dial and the literal translation for a booty call could end up being exactly the same if they were both translated very literally into another language. But we all know that those are two very different ideas. A paraphrase, on the other hand, is attempting to capture the spirit of the idea that is being expressed. But both approaches come with their own disadvantages. Sometimes the most literal translation for each word, while technically still accurate, also loses something in its translation. For example, if you were to translate the phrase, "cat got your tongue," into another language, it would probably make no sense to them. Why would a cat grab your tongue? What are you even talking about? In order to convey the original idea, you would have to find out which saying is used in that other language to express the same concept. But it might not involve a cat, or even any animal at all. So the literal translation would not be a very accurate one. But in a case like the one that I just described, the idea is more important than sticking to a very literal translation that ends up losing all of its intended meaning. However, because paraphrases are an individual's interpretation of the underlying idea instead of a rigorous academic translation of the word, they are not as objectively accurate as a translation is. A paraphrase is a lot more subjective, and that makes it much more susceptible to interpretations that are way off the mark of the original text's intent. The focus of a translation is on detailed accuracy, and sometimes the broader picture is not conveyed very clearly as a result. The focus of a paraphrase is on painting that big picture, but it often loses the accuracy of the finer details. Both are useful as long as you understand which is which, and what the disadvantages to each approach are. And that is why I recommend using both an accurate translation, like the New American Standard, and a responsible paraphrase. For my part, I've done my best to create a hybrid paraphrase that also contains the truest translation that I could create for the Hebrew words that are found in the original text. But everything loses something in translation. Every word is an amalgamation of several other words. That is basically what a dictionary is. It tells you which words overlap with the word that you are interested in, and that helps you to fully understand its context. When it comes to a language that you are familiar with, all of the implied connections that are associated with a word are inherently carried along for context. They are tethered to its meaning, and we all understand that those connections are part of the picture. But this web of context does not come along for the ride when you are dealing with an unfamiliar language. So in a translation, you often have to choose between picking a word that overlaps more than any other single word would, while sacrificing the rest of the picture, or you end up with an extremely wordy translation that doesn't flow as well as it does in the original language. And Hebrew especially is such an abundantly rich language that to remain true to the beautiful web of context that is contained in the original biblical portrait, you end up with a very wordy English version. That trade-off is clearly not for everyone. But the truth is that there are already so many paraphrases out there for the people who want the maximally filtered, ultra-boiled down, heavily concentrated version of the Bible. And I'm not denying that concise simplicity has its utility. It certainly does. So if that is all that you are looking for right now, then there are already several versions out there to suit your preferred purpose. For the other people who want a deeper dive and a wider perspective to draw from as they try to understand the scriptures fully, some amount of crisp, flowing directness will have to be sacrificed in exchange for the opportunity to view that broader and more complicated web of context. But hopefully, these attempts to contribute an additional tool to the versions of the Holy Scriptures that already exist will only add another dimension to the way that you experience faith. This psalm combines parts of two previous psalms. Psalm 57, which is a record of the thoughts that David had when he fled from Saul into the cave in 1 Samuel 22, and Psalm 60, which was set during a battle that ended with the death of 12,000 Edomites in the Valley of Salt in 2 Samuel 8, in which God establishes a hierarchy for different kinds of relationships with him and outlined their results. For more context on that outline and the different groups that are mentioned in it, please go and listen to episode 218 on Psalm 60. Psalm 108, a psalm of David to be sung. My heart remains resolute, divine Creator. It is as confident as it is steadfast. It is aligned and ready, true and secure. So my entire being cannot refrain from singing out, creating music in my joy, because inside of me, my truest self is fully awake and engaged. And so is the dignity that I was created to live out. So I will bring my harp and my lyre to life as I have been brought to life, for I am as alive and as awake as the breaking dawn itself, and so is my curiosity, and I am determined to remain in a state that is animated this fully. So with outstretched hands, I will celebrate you, Most High, on the public streets among the various family clans of people. Yes, in full view of distinctly separate tribes. I will turn my unrestrained extensions of gratitude into songs of joy and fill the streets with music for you, because your acts of unwavering love and unmerited mercy are so vast that they extend all the way to the heavens and fill them up as well, surpassing the cosmos in significance, because they predate it. Likewise, your stable and comprehensive truth is so profound and so powerful that it touches even the dust clouds as they soar in the heights of the skies, making us feel small. So may you be elevated above the heavens that you created, God, for this is right. May your higher glory and dignity descend on us and cover every inch of this world. Do this so that the people that you cherish most will be snatched away from destruction and saved. Hear me now. Respond and intervene. Save and free us with your strongest governing hand. And the divine Creator, in his own distinct sacredness, concretely declared in reality defining terms, with jubilant triumph, I will personally divide up Shechem. I will measure and hand out shares in the Sukkoth valley. Gilead is mine, and Manasseh is mine. Also Ephraim, who defends and protects my head like a fortress. I have chosen Judah to rule as my lawgiver. Moab in Jordan serves only as my washbowl. But I will fling my shoe down on Edom during my secure triumph over them and claim their land. And Philistia in Gaza will cry out loud because of me and the crushing defeat that I will bring about while unleashing a victorious battle cry of my successful conquest. So who will march with me into the heart of this fight and storm their fortified city, the one built to withstand any siege? Who will lead the way with me into Edom? Won't you do it, divine creator, even though you had thrown us aside and did not advance with our armies? Come with the allied strength to help us defeat our adversaries and their traps. Back us up against our hostile oppressors, for the help of other earthly men is worthless, as is any deceptive form of saving grace that mortal beings can offer to one another. But enabled in God, we will fight with valor and achieve the victory. Because with true loathing, he will stomp on and crush the enemies who oppress us. I pray that whatever voice God might choose to give me in this world, he would also give me the words that I should use it for. These words have meaning for me, and if they had some meaning for you as well, then I am truly grateful that we have both been given a gift from above and from each other. Have a good day out there, my friends.